We're at Inside Bitcoins NYC. This is Money and Tech. I'm Perianne Boring, and I'm joined by Ryan Charleston, the founder and CEO of Bitcorati, which is a rating system for Bitcoin companies. Can you just explain how your rating system works?
Yes, so the rating system is a work in progress. It will involve various aspects of data feeds, news and information to form a sentiment on different Bitcoin businesses, as well as delving into some of the financial aspects, security aspects, and compliance and regulatory aspects.
And Bitcoin has seen some players who have had nefarious purposes. Are you guys looking to weed those people out?
That's exactly it. Nobody should be doxxed ever again. And if I could help that process of letting everyone in the Bitcoin ecosystem know who to trust, as well as for the general public, so we can actually achieve a mass adoption, this will go a long way to helping that.
And so, what stemmed the idea to form Bitcorati?
So the original idea was just to build a directory. I wanted to know who were the players in the space, who were the startups, also what merchants were accepting Bitcoin, where can I spend my Bitcoin. Another thing that was interesting was the people that were involved in those businesses. That's a big component of trust. I mean, if you have people who have been convicted of fraud or have done things in the past and they're starting a Bitcoin business, that should raise some alarm bells. But sometimes the public don't know that. And if there's a way that they can go and look at who's running these companies, who's building these companies, what's their track record, all that stuff goes into building ratings for Bitcoin.
And how do you conduct all your due diligence and your research?
It's just a little bit of manual processes, and then coming to these conferences and actually talking to the entrepreneurs, building those relationships and knowing what they're working on, having them actually voluntarily contribute to what goes into those ratings. Yeah.
From the companies that you've worked with, what kind of feedback are you hearing from them on your system?
Almost unanimously, they all say we need something like this, and they feel like if they're a part of the process in telling what goes into the ratings, it's good for them. It's good for the whole ecosystem as a whole. So, yeah.
And government regulation in general has been a little bit of a theme here at Inside Bitcoins this week and even last week at Coin Summit. What are your thoughts on regulation? Do you think that these should come from the government, or are you looking more for self-regulating organizations, like something you're doing yourself? Do you think the Bitcoin community can regulate itself?
Yeah, I think the Bitcoin community can do a lot to regulate itself. The government's always going to want to get involved, and so it's just right now there's so much asymmetric information that the government's getting, and so that's why you see FinCEN issuing one type of guidance and the IRS doing something else. And is it a digital commodity? Is it a currency? What is it? So they're still trying to figure that out. Other countries have different perspectives on it. I think it'll be that way for a while until eventually it stabilizes and we get a more mature economy built on Bitcoin. And what I actually am calling value exchange protocols, that's my term for what Bitcoin and things like it are. But I think within the ecosystem, we can do things to rate ourselves or to police ourselves in a sense.
Right, within government regulation, there's so many players. You have SEC, CFTC, DOJ, IRS, FinCEN, FINRA. So there seems to be a lack of unity between government, which we've seen in other industries too. But you're also a little bit interested in the media side of things, and we are too. And do you think Bitcoin has gotten fair press coverage?
I think it's gotten very mixed press coverage, and one of the things I'm actually happy to see happening now, and these conferences are a part of that, is moving away from the conversation of Bitcoin as a currency, and we're starting to see that kind of come into the media more, which I'm happy to see, and showing people, having the media be an outlet to show people that Bitcoin is more than just a currency. Currency was the first thing that these protocols are being used for, but there's so many things that they can be used for beyond that. It's really an asset ledger. The technology that goes into it will enable more than just currency. And so once that notion gets out into in the media, I think it's going to be better for all of us.
According to a study that was published in the Wall Street Journal, 76% of Americans don't know what Bitcoin is. And of the percentage that do know what Bitcoin is, 80% said they'd rather own gold than Bitcoin. Do you think that has to do with the press coverage, the reactive press coverage that Bitcoin has been in the press?
Yeah, I think it's just still new, and people are still trying to figure out what it is. I mean, people in the space that have knowledge of it and how it works are still trying to figure out ways to use it, ways to protect it, uh, products and services and apps to build on it. So we're still figuring it out. So if we're still figuring it out, the public is definitely a step behind that. So.
What do you think is the best way to bring public awareness to Bitcoin?
I think it's a multiple effort among all these businesses to actually build consumer-facing products, and then, you know, different methods of wallets and exchanges. We've only seen the tip of the iceberg, and going back to the regulatory perspective, a lot of the difficulty in getting mass adoption for Bitcoin is because there's so much mixed information on the regulatory end. So once that clears up, I think the floodgates will open to what's possible.
Great. Thanks. This is Ryan Charleston, the CEO and founder of Bitcorati, and I'm Perianne Boring with Money and Tech.